Hi guys, it's Jamie here, and I was asked a question in group, or myself and Emma were asked a question in group about inking edges. If you want to save a little bit of money, then possibly the only two inks you need are a vintage photo distress ink and a permanent black ink. If you're unaware of distress inks, they react with water, and I will show you that at the end of this video, just to show you edging and how it will look different between a coffee stained paper and a white paper. You can see it smokes down to a grey. This is shedding a bit, ignore that. And that is the applicator, like a little sponge applicator. You can also use makeup sponges. And then on a coffee stain, hoping you can see that, that is your difference. The most recommended and the most used in junk journals, which is the vintage photo on white. I'm doing quite a large area because normally you would grunge round not just an edge but into a piece, and this is the vintage photo on coffee stained, so you can see the difference there. For an alternative brown, and for when papers are particularly already dark, vintage photo, as you can see, is a mid-brown, and it will not show up. It will not give that beautiful framing effect to a page or a piece of artwork or a collage. So if you have a particularly grungy coffee stain, which I often do, you might want to go a bit darker with an espresso or a walnut. This is espresso, and you can see it's less orange and much darker. And these are all distress inks now, and that is your espresso on the coffee stain. My other favourites that I'm beginning to use more and more, because I just got a little bit bored with the vintage photo. I would say if you're a beginner and you're starting out, wait on the colours. Peeled paint tends to go with the vintage looks, a bit of a grungier green. So you can see that's what I call like a moss on the trees green. If you were to do that on coffee stain, you can see that's quite vintage looking. And I love, and has its places in some journals, is the salvage patina. I particularly use this when I want to create, using inks, a metallic rusty look. And I would mix this with rusty hinge and a few other colours, but that's a little bit more advanced. So this is your salvage patina on the white, and then on the coffee. And you can see that is a massive difference when you start to put these colours on coffee stain. Another favourite, even though I'm not a pink person, is the Victorian Velvet, because it's more of a dusty, dusky pink. It is not bright and vibrant. You can see it has that dusky look, but when you put it on the coffee stain, it has that Victorian rose look. Something else you can do, which does look really nice, and I started doing almost immediately, was to take your vintage photo imagine that on an edging, and then take your Victorian Velvet and you get a pinky brown, if you can see those differences. And that to me is quite a vintage pink look. For beginners who've never come across distress inks, let me show you why they are so popular. And we will do it on this one. It doesn't matter, you can do it on any paper. They run. And when they run, they can create interesting effects on your papers. And you can mix those up together and actually just from those get a very interesting background to journal on or to add some extra pieces to. I'll let that dry. That's actually watercolour paper, but that's coincidental. And again, you can encourage it yourself and bring things into each other and mix them. I hope that little quick demonstration showed you some colours there. Those happen to be my favourites. I do have other distress inks. I do use them occasionally, but these are the ones that I go to the most. Top ones being black and vintage photo, definitely.